This week we're taking this piece of trash roof that I got for I think $10 or $20, and we're going to make it into something decent. And I've got a couple tricks that's going to make it nicer than what it is. So hang on. Now I've got some high expectations here. So it's got to be a multi-step process. This is the underside, obviously. I've already hosed it down with cheap glass cleaner and paper towels. And I'm going to go ahead and spray paint it. Inside, I don't really have too much concerns about the finish as far as how it looks. I just want it to be smooth and shiny because there's going to be lights in here and I want them to be able to stick to it. Now to use this, I'm not just going to use regular spray paint. Have you ever used these turbo cans? These things are amazing. Look at that sprayer. This thing puts out some product. It comes out like this. You'll see when I start spraying it. This is just gloss black. This is supposed to be. It better be. Like usual, you got to fog it in first, especially with all these little dimples. And then this channel here, and then the one back there, so on and so forth. You see that? Look how wide that is. And then we let that flash. When the can puts out this much product, you'd have to be very careful about runs. I don't have any fisheye anywhere that I can see, so that means I got all the oils off, to include hand oil. That might be a fisheye right there, actually, now that I see it. That's okay, though. This is the underneath. Nobody's really going to be looking at this. Jeez, stuff is awesome. Look at that. 2 dusting coats and it's almost done. Now on the other side, on the top, there is a texture that I want. That texture will do multiple things. It will hide the fact that there's coats of paint on there already that I can't get off. So if I put a texture on there, that will hide it. I mean, you saw me using the pressure washer and paint didn't budge. So that paint is stuck on there pretty good. It's not going to flake off. Then that texture, I'm going to use spray-on bed liner. That will also give the roof a coat that can handle getting knocked around. Say, driving through the woods. Or on the trailer behind the van going down the freeway at 70 miles an hour and a rock gets kicked up. It can handle that stuff. And on top of that, I'm going to give it a color coat. Gives it more UV stability. And I'm going to use the same semi-gloss that I've been using, the wheel paint. That'll give the same color and tie it into everything else that's on the golf cart. If it works out like I think it will, it's going to look pretty cool. God, this stuff is amazing. And while, again, Rust-Oleum is not like the best paint on the market, spray bond paint, it is pretty damn decent paint. What do we think? We think that looks good? I mean, it is blacker than my soul. Only use about that much. These do spray out really, really quick, but of course they put out a lot of product too. All right, score. I'm gonna let this dry for a little bit. So it's quite a few hours later, and I got sick of waiting. The paint on the bottom side of that is still tacky. I guess it doesn't want to dry in 55-degree weather. Who would have guessed? So I've got a heater running. I've got this floating in the air to where I'm not messing with the not dry paint on the bottom. I got her floating in the air to where I can go ahead and shoot some bed liner in it. Another turbo can. There's a reason I bought this big one. Actually, a couple of reasons. It was cheaper than the small ones, at least when you figure per ounce. This was like $20 or $22, something like that. But whatever's left on this, I'm going to be putting on the trailer that we haul this thing on. Because on the strips where the tires go through, on the treads, I want to put some of this on there. So hopefully there'll be enough left over. If there's not, then I'll get a small can, which is literally half of this. But that gives me hopefully the ability to do what I need to do without buying another. I've been shaking this up. Now, I was going to use some body filler and fill in over here where it says Easy Go, because this is off of an Easy Go and we have a Yamaha. I just don't feel like doing it. El Presidente said not to worry about it, and I'm just not worried about it. I might end up getting a Yamaha badge, like what I put on the front of it, and put it right over that Easy Go. That's not a bad idea. Ah, here we go. I need to show you this. Now, right here is one of the reasons why I want to use the bed liner for the depth and for the thickness of it. You see that? Can you tell how thick that paint is? And then you got all of this. I'm not going to sand all this. I'm going to mess up the plastic if I do that. You guys already saw me try and pressure wash it. And then right here, it's got some more. I'm not going to sand this. It's just not going to happen. So if I use this stuff, this thick paint that has texture on it, personally, I think it would look better. And this will hide all that. Let's stop talking and start doing. All right, let this dry a little bit. Then I'm going to put another coat on it, and that'll probably be it. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to give it another coat of paint. I've still got a half can of the wheel paint. And instead of just going north and south like that, I'm going to go east and west. That's it. Turn on the fan. Now on that image on the camera, that looks tiger striped like crazy. You don't see it in person. So I'm going to let this dry and see what happens. I know I'm going to need at least one more can for some other projects that I have on the golf cart. So I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to come back in a few hours and see what's up. You see the paint's dry. You can see a little bit of texture, which is what I wanted. However, you also see some tiger striping. You can see right here, it's a little thin. Here, it's a little thin. I mean, it's literally tiger stripes. I've mentioned it before. That's what tiger striping is. And what it is, I don't think I've really described it very well. So when you're painting, you put down your first coat. Then when you do your second coat, you're supposed to do a 50% overlap, which would be about like that. The next coat goes over half of the first coat. And then the next. And so on and so forth. When you have a paint gun, it's easy to do. And same with the turbo cans. It's really easy to do because you have a spray pattern like this. You're just dumping it on there. But when you have a can of spray paint, you got a spray pattern like this. Just little tiny spray pattern. And it is very difficult to do that. We're going to do or redo revisited, or whatever it is. We're going to adjust the roof again. If you've been around since the beginning, you know that the very first golf cart episode was how to mount a cheap roof as cheaply as possible, and I used conduit. I used 1/2-inch conduit because it was cheaper and it was just too small. I'm still running it on the back, actually. Then I decided it was too floppy and just too weak. And on top of that, the way I did it, up here, there was a gap between one and the other. It was like that, and then like that. And that gap in the middle looked ghetto, but it also gave a lot of wiggle because it was no longer one piece. So they were wiggling independently of each other. Did not care for that. So then I figured my solution, some 3/4-inch conduit. The tubing bender that I bought, secondhand on Marketplace, it'll do both 1/2-inch and 3/4-inch. And this is 50% bigger. So that means it's got to be like 135% stronger, something like that. Don't quote me on that one. But after butchering this piece, there wasn't enough conduit here to do what I wanted to do. In my ever quest of being cheap, I don't want to buy another stick. So I got an idea. I took a piece of the 1/2-inch conduit that I have left over, and I've got it up in here right now. It's not bolted in because it's actually hanging. It's supporting everything right now with the overhead ratchet strap. However, I'm going to mock up the 3/4-inch, set it up here, run it up there, get it cut to the level I want, to the elevation, to where I have the couple of degree rake as it is sitting right now. And then once I get it where I want it, I'm going to notch the tubing just a little bit. What I mean by that, I'm going to take the big piece. This is just an example piece. And I'm going to take, I don't know what kind of tool yet. There's a couple different options. But I'm going to cut it like this. And of course, not just right here, but also on this side too. And that way, what I can do, once I cut that out, I can nestle this down into it like that and then weld it. Just a few beads, a couple tacks, that's all it needs. Clean it up, grind it up a little bit, make it halfway decent looking, and then maybe just shoot some paint on it and call it good. Once I get that, I'll be able to bolt it in place, it'll be essentially one loop, nothing to wiggle. It'll just flex a little bit, but that's a whole lot better than flexing like this because it can do whatever it wants. I see it in my mind. I don't know if y'all see it in your mind. I see it. Plain as day. This makes perfect sense. Sometimes I can see things better than I can explain them. So what I need to do is I need to put that up here and figure out what elevation it's getting cut at, what length it's getting cut at, and then start notching it. There's a couple different ways we can notch it. Using a hole cutter would probably yield the best cuts. Get this back out of the trash yet again. But it would give the best, most beautiful looking cut. However, it'll be almost impossible to do. So probably not going to do that. I could get those deburr wheels and just grind it down and get the hole that I want. So honestly, that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. This is way too small to use a sawzall or a bandsaw or a jigsaw. And again, I don't have anything cool like a plasma cutter. So I'm probably going to use one of those grinding deburr tools and just hog it out until it's big enough to drop a pipe on. And then once I have it all exactly where I want it, just go tack, tack. And then on the other side, tack, tack, double check it, make sure I like it. And if I like it, then I'm just going to remove the entire thing as one piece. Take it away from all this fresh paint and actually burn it and take it from there. Let's see what kind of a mess I can make. So this is the elevation I'm going to go with. That's it. That is where I need it. So I need to measure this from the ground to that, and then put the same thing over here, chop that sucker off, and then start doing my little cut like I was saying. And once that's done, put it up here, buzz, 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 take it all apart, burn it in. Might even get done today if it's not too late. I also need to make sure that these are the same, because right now it's kind of like this. So it's like that instead of like that. I need them to be the same instead of like that. So I need to bend, boom. And while that sounds really easy and simple, it's not. Because it's real easy to go way too far. Hey, nailed it. Tape measure. I know I have at least one around here somewhere. Ooh, candy. And there we go. This is what it's going to look like. And you can see I did a lot of work here off camera. Look at the arrows. I put the top bar on there and welded it to the upright bar and then bolted it down to the cowl on the bottom. And I like this a lot better than what I had before. I've got it tacked up here. And I've got it tacked up over here. And here it is, ready for its campground debut. It's not done, but it's done enough for this weekend, which is Memorial Day weekend. It's ready for nighttime and daytime cruising, and it might even be in a parade. Maybe. Don't know about that yet. But it's good enough for now. Love it. Yeah, so I did a thing. It doesn't look perfect, but it looks better than saying easy go.